Hey there, history lovers. Welcome or welcome back to HistArt, where we mix royal drama, dusty bones, and legendary tales with just the right touch of flair. Now, I was going to give you something a bit lighter today, maybe an episode about Tudor feasts or weird medieval pets, but nope, the Tudors have dragged me back into the crypt again. Today's video is a standalone story and the unofficial final chapter in what has accidentally become the Tudor Women Who Lost Their Heads trilogy. In past episodes, we looked at Anne Boleyn's execution in 1536, and then Catherine Howard's and Jane Boleyn's in 1542. If you missed those, the links are in the description. But don't worry, today's tale stands on its own. It's about what happened centuries later, when the Victorians decided to do a bit of home renovation, Tudor style. Our setting, the Chapel of St. Peter ad Vincula, nestled inside the Tower of London. This is where many unfortunate Tudor souls, including Anne, Catherine and Jane, were buried. By 1876, the chapel was in bad shape. Uneven floors, crumbling stone, ghostly vibes, the whole lot. Queen Victoria gave the go-ahead for repairs, and with that, the royal work crew moved in. Enter Doyen Courtenay Bell, a man with an amazing name and a deep love for digging up royalty. He oversaw the restoration, and his meticulous notes are the main source for what we know. What started as a plan to level the floor turned into something much bigger. You see, those lumpy chapel tiles were lumpy for a reason. The ground underneath was filled with shallow graves. You can guess what happened next. On November 9th, 1876, the team began excavating what they believed to be Anne Boleyn's burial spot. Just 2 feet down, bingo, human remains. But here's the twist. The bones weren't laid out neatly. They had been reburied at some point, tightly packed into a small space, likely moved in the mid-1700s. No one knows why, but it's peak British chaos. Now, let's talk about the bones. The remains belong to a woman around 25 to 35 years old. Petite, slender, a narrow, elegant neck. Yes, that famous little neck Anne mentioned before her execution. The skull suggested an oval face, a strong jawline, and what Victorians called an intellectual forehead, which sounds fancy but was mostly 19th century pseudoscience. Still, these features line up surprisingly well with portraits of Anne Boleyn. Even more intriguing, the hands and feet. Tapered fingers, small foot bones, details that could have matched Anne, or even traits passed down to her daughter, Elizabeth I. Of course you're wondering, was there a 6th finger? Nope, only 11 finger bones were found, less than half of what you'd need for a full set, so there's no way to confirm or debunk the rumor. The mystery lives on. Her lower jaw was partially missing, and several teeth had vanished, possibly due to age or maybe souvenir hunters. Victorians were weirdly into collecting morbid memorabilia, so who knows? The team didn't stop at Anne. They also found remains believed to be John Dudley, Duke of Northumberland, plus 2 women. One thought to be Jane Boleyn, in her 30s, and one much older, likely Margaret Pole, the Countess of Salisbury. As for Catherine Howard, her bones were never found. Bell speculated they'd disintegrated due to youth, time, and poor burial conditions. Tragic and very on brand for the Tudors. Once the excavation wrapped up, the remains were placed in lead-sealed oak boxes and reburied in their original spots, now covered by a thick slab of concrete, basically a royal do not disturb sign for the ages. Which brings us to the big question, should we dig them up again? With modern tech, we could possibly run DNA tests, confirm identities, even do facial reconstructions, but permission for royal exhumation is, let's say, not easily granted. Many argue these women have suffered enough and deserve peace. So what do you think? Should we leave Anne Boleyn where she lies, or is history calling for one last reveal? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Tudor remains and Victorian curiosity, give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell for more twisted tales from HistArt, where the past is anything but buried.